Ladies and gentlemen, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, St. Louis kid, Pat Maroon.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, sorry we wasted your time, lad. So sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, we can't hear you.
Not here.
You want to talk about wasting time? We did that, bud.
Rig.
Hello?
There you are. How are you?
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll have you on the team next year to add a little physicality.
Yeah.
You'd fit in well with our group, especially because you have that champion pedigree. Let's talk about that. Obviously, tonight, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals puck drops. Connor McDavid needs to win this for his legacy. I hate that we even have that conversation. But Connor McDavid is clearly best player on earth right now, how everybody should talk, and winning a cup is just something that has to happen alongside of that. Or the Florida Panthers looking to become like the 8th dynastic run, saying they went back-to-back. What's the bigger talking point? What matters more? Who's motivated more, you think, Big Rig?
I think, yeah. I mean, with Connor, yeah, I mean, this will put a stamp on his legacy in itself. I think we all talk about how great Connor McDavid is, and he's probably the best player in the world, and probably will go down as the best player we ever see to ever step foot. You know, obviously, I'm not taking away Wayne Gretzky, but obviously Wayne's an elite player, but generational. You know, right now, Connor McDavid will probably go down as one of the best players to play, and I think this will, if he needs to win a Stanley Cup, yes, I think it will stamp his legacy even, higher. But there's times where, Connor's probably going to have this opportunity multiple times, right? But I think if he wins this, yes, this will stamp his legacy right to where he needs to go. But we're talking about Florida Panthers, though, a team that's getting in the way with that, and they're going to be, trying to be the next team to go back-to-back. They went back to 3 Stanley Cups in a row, and they're trying to win 2 in a row right now. So they're in the way right now. A good team that's pretty healthy right now. And it's going to be a hard task for Connor and the guys.
Isn't it crazy to just think about the greatness that's happening? Kachuk said on our show, I think, or maybe somebody else's, I forget. He said we're clearly the 2 best teams in hockey right now. Clearly. He was like, everybody kind of knows that we're the 2 best. Patty, we don't know. Big crowd reaction.
Did you miss a goal? Big goal?
Like a PK.
I don't know. I think there was a big foul, Patty. I think it was a big foul. Here's a replay. Oh, pushing it back. Oh, is that a penalty?
Absolute bush league.
Looks like a flop.
I think he's got a penalty to win this. Wait a minute, Patty Maroon.
Red card.
No red card. Don't be calling for eject. Patty, don't be doing that. Oh, we got a penalty, Patty Maroon.
Wow.
All right, do you think he scores or do you think the goalie saves it, Pat Maroon?
He scores.
Okay, that would win it for Drip FC. Number 10 for Drip FC.
Is that Leo Messi?
Is that Lou? Yeah.
What do? You pick a side, right or left, or what?
I always go as hard as I possibly can, right half of net.
Okay.
But he's probably going to go, precision! Oh! Big save! Big save! Have America! Stays alive! What a save by Specs down there.
That was a very poor
Does he guess?
PK.
Does he go
Big time save. Big time save.
Gotta guess.
Goalie tries to read.
Okay.
Because you can kind of read somebody's approach. You can kind of do that. The goalie, obviously, I think he was a reacting goalie. Some people react, some people guess. So I think Shooter was hoping for a guesser. Mm-hmm. He was a reactor.
Got his ass.
You get it?
It wasn't the best shot.
What's that?
It wasn't the best shot.
Yeah,
sure you want that
right there. He was hoping that he guessed the other way, I think. I think he was hoping the
Patty's
goalie.
big soccer guy.
Go top bin.
Yeah, you watch soccer all the time? Who's your team?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much the same as hockey.
All right, well, your prediction game is 0 for 1 here. You said he'd score. The goalie said, When you talk about Connor McDavid, you just said something there. Probably the best player ever. Is it like, do all hockey people talk about that? Like just how absurd he is on the ice? Because I think for the NHL, great news that he's on prime time in the Stanley Cup Final to watch. Looks like he's going a different speed. Is that what it is, or what is it about him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hockey IQ. He thinks the game faster than a lot of people think the game. He's one step faster than, the normal average NHL player. And there's a lot of guys like that, the Kucherovs, the McKinnons, the Crosbys. There's a list of guys that go down, Draisaitl, that just have that hockey IQ, that think one step faster than a normal NHL hockey player. But his quickness and the way he can turn on a dime, the way he can do things, his edge work, he's so dynamic. Look how dynamic that is. And I think his first 3 steps, it kind of fools a lot of defenders. he puts pucks in a lot of different areas in their feet and their triangle of their stick, where it makes it very difficult to defend. So, he's one of the best and generational.
I can't wait to watch him tonight. And also, Club America has tied it up in target score time.
Instant classic this game.
It was 4-1 going into target score time. Now we're at 4-4. It's the first one to 5. Remember, the way these games end down here, Patty Maroon, is it's always a walk-off. Whatever the leading team has, you add 1 goal. That is now the target score. Whoever gets there first wins. Club America was down 3. Now they're tied. All they need is 1 goal. It's 3-on-3 in Cary, North Carolina. They have a field player with a penny on. He is acting as the goalie. Let's go ahead and get an extra couple feet on the ball. Soccer Dave is in for his team when it's 3-on-3. He must be a great player. Back to the goalie. They will try to pick apart. There's a new rule that you can't hold it for 8 seconds anymore.
Oh, that's a great rule.
People used to sit with the ball for 8 seconds. Yeah. It was very boring, just waiting for the other team to attack. It was kind of a standstill. Soccer Dave went for the win.
Dave.
Specs with another massive save. Patty Maroon, it's getting intense.
Is this a new league? What's going on here? Is this a new league? What's going on?
It's a once-a-year tournament called TST. It's called the Soccer Tournament. You remember TBT, the basketball one?
Yeah, the basketball, yeah.
They do it for soccer. It's called TST.
Okay.
And it's like 3 times bigger than the basketball one, with fans, teams, everything. $1 million on the line. It's a huge ordeal.
I'm shocked you're not playing.
Well, my team won this morning, Patty.
Oh.
Concava is our name, which is a play on.
You put an extra $1 million in for the boys to win, or no?
I am paying the boys. Drip FC scores in target score time after an epic clash with Club America. Oh, they're coming over. Drip FC, the boys.
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
Goddamn animals.
Hell yeah. Jeez.
I like Drip FC. I hope we see you in the finals, brother.
That was awesome.
FC. Patty Maroon. Pretty electrifying, huh? Don't you think?
That was electric.
Yeah. We almost had a Commander Stadium situation.
Yeah. They were just rocking on that glass.
Yeah, can't be doing that.
Hey, great work, whoever put this, ESPN folks, production folks.
Yeah.
Well done.
Put the stage together.
Well done.
That could have been bad.
Big time.
I was grabbing it. Hey, don't pull on that.
Easy, boys. Easy. I thought it was
I don't know who actually is getting sued.
that ain't
for
going
that.
anywhere.
I know I am. Yeah. So I was watching, as it was taking place. AJ has a question for you, Patty.
Yeah,
what
Patty.
a winner for Drip FC and Johnny Damon.
Yeah, Johnny Damon is definitely happy. But Patty, when you talk about Connor McDavid, I'm thinking with hockey, you play football and basketball here. When you have a generational talent, a lot of people say, hey, just don't let this guy beat you. We need to force someone else to beat us. Can you do that with Connor McDavid? Are you able to find a way?
What's going on here?
Easy. This guy just came off. I mean, I almost saw a guy die here on this thing a second ago. But can you take Connor McDavid away and force the other guys to beat you?
Yeah, I mean, you can. Are you asking, like, you went without Connor McDavid? Kind of cut out there.
Yeah, we got a lot of moving parts going on. I'm saying, can you focus on him and say double him, do whatever it takes to actually take Connor McDavid away? Is that possible in hockey with a guy as good as he is?
I mean, it's possible, yeah. You can have a guy that can shut him down, and, it's not like basketball. It's like one-on-one, or football. There's a lot of one-on-one matches where you can shut him down. But, yeah, they'll have their matchups where it's probably Barkov's line against Connor McDavid's line, and you kind of just shadow him in the neutral zone. You'll probably have someone shadow him, but it's going to be hard to contain him as much as possible. It's not like basketball or football where you have your one-on-one matches and you can contain him a little bit better that way. But I think you have your matchups with your D pairing, the top 2D that are going against them, and then the top 3 forwards that are going to match up against them too. So they just try to do a good job of limiting time and space, being hard on them, physicality on them. Try not to get that space where he can create his offense on his own. So I think it's all time and space limited, but I think that's why, hockey's great, because it's, if you beat one guy, it's the next man up to kind of defend and help out that way in that direction. So you got to beat all 5 guys. So, I mean, we all know Florida Panthers are a good defending team. They're physical, so it's going to be hard for them. But, he always finds ways. The best players finds ways to kind of get out of that.
Is there like a scouting report on each guy on how to beat them? Like I know goalies, we have that. I know goalies were breaking them down, and it's fun to watch now that I learned that you guys do that. Watching the first period shots all going to one side of the net, like everybody's peppering high glove side. It's like obviously the message was, hey, this guy's glove is susceptible. Is there a story or a book on guys too? Like, hey, this guy doesn't like maybe whenever we chop the shit close to his hands. Doesn't like little. Is there like that type of conversation when you guys are breaking down film, or how does it go?
Yeah, it's mostly in the playoffs. Some coaches, I had a coach, Todd McCullen, he'll have a sheet before every game. You look at it, their lineup and their tendencies, what they bring, what they're good at, what they're not so good at, things that can, get underneath their skin. And I know during the playoffs, every coach does this. You have like a book sheet, and then, they're kind of analyzes each player, and they have all their tendencies and what they're good at, what they're not so good at. How can you drive them a little bit nuts? Guys you want to stay away. These are the guys that like the kind of bullshit in between whistles, so stay away from that. They have a lot of things that kind of cue on it. Mostly it's attended to goalies, I would say, in the playoffs, because you're trying to get to the goalie. Usually the goalies, you can say their best player, that's their guy. Bob Roski's obviously a stud, so how can we get to Bob? But there's a booklet of sheets where there's guys that have all their tendencies and what they're good at, and you just try to focus on maybe one or two of those throughout the course of a series.
What do you think the book was on you when other people are reading about you? Big. This guy's big.
Big, slow.
Can beat him with speed, although we rarely
beat him
will.
with speed.
Yeah,
he can beat you wide.
D-Bud has a question for you, Patty.
Yeah, you just talked about Bob, and obviously, defense wins championship. Who do you give the goalie edge to when it comes to Bob and Skinner and the other net?
To me, I think Bob has the edge. I think he's the guy that's obviously been there the last 2 years. He's won one. I'm still waiting for Skinner to make those. He's been playing great ever since Picard got hurt. He kind of stepped in and kind of had those ropes where he had to step up and play his game, and they rely on Skinner a lot. But the upper hand right now, I'm giving it to Bob until Skinner, shows me, maybe games 1 and 2, he's here to perform. And I think he went through that transition last year of, letting in some kind of soft goals. And when you win a Stanley Cup, you need defense, you need your goaltender, you rely on them so much. So I'm going to give it to Bob right now, but we'll talk after game 1. We'll see how it goes.
Connor has a question for you, Patty.
Yeah, Patty, you got brought up in the first hour. What's the deal with the new CBA? Because we know for the Lightning teams you played for some of these Panthers teams, for the Golden Knights, kind of cheated. I'm not going to go that far. But the whole entire, this guy's hurt, this guy's hurt, this guy's hurt. Let's stay under the cap. Boom, playoffs. Let's bring back Kucherov. Let's bring back Stone. Let's bring back some of the greatest players in the league. Even though, they're technically over the cap. What is this situation, and how much will this actually change the NHL playoffs? Because it does feel as though this kind of, sneaking of the rule, kind of taking advantage of the rule, has dramatically helped some of these teams go and get the cup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the CBA is going to talk about it. They're going to touch on it. The GMs are going to touch on it. The owners are. But listen, guys are hurt. You have cap space. I think you should utilize it. In my opinion, I think you're not really cheating the system because your guys are really hurt. Like, I know everyone's talking about the Kucherov effect, and he was hurt, the whole season, and all of a sudden he comes back for game 1 of the playoffs. Well, he was hurt, and we can talk about Kachuk right now. He was hurt. He got hurt in 4 Nations, and then they have space for Seth Jones and Brad Marchand and Sturm, and so. I mean, listen, I think they're probably going to touch on it. Probably people are pretty aggravated by it, the owners or the teams that don't make it that far, that don't have enough cap space or don't have injuries that run into that situation. But it's certainly something to talk about. But, hey, listen, if a guy's hurt, if you can make your team better by adding more pieces underneath the cap, and I know you're going to be over the cap once the playoff hits, but they only say, hey, you got to hit the cap, before the end of the season. So if you can do that and add pieces to the puzzle, I'm all for it. I don't think you can get rid of it. I think you make your teams a lot better by doing that.
Yeah, how come the Pittsburgh Penguins aren't doing it? How come the teams that aren't good aren't doing it? What's the deal?
Well, because they're not in the playoffs.
Jeez.
Oh, and they haven't been for a while. Tell them, Big Rig. Last year.
Yeah, Kyle Dubas is going to turn it around.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about Dubas. Ty has a question for you, Pat.
Big Rig, in a lot of other sports, when it comes to generational talents, we talk about, hey, when they win their first title, it's kind of like, taking the top off the bucket or whatever. If Connor McDavid is to win this Stanley Cup, do you think there's a chance that the Oilers kind of go on a run here where they're in a position like the Panthers are right now where they're in the finals every year, they're winning cups, or at least, like he could have a real generational run? Or is that different in hockey than it is in every other sport because it's so difficult to win a Stanley Cup?
No, I think you're totally right there. I think the window's so small in hockey, right? If you have a window that's still open and you can keep going after and keep trying to go win cups, keep going after it. Because once the window closes, then you're seeing it with obviously we can go back to the Penguins. The window was open for so many years, winning championships, going back to the finals. They won back-to-back. But I think if they win, they're going to keep that window open and keep adding pieces to, keep trying to win more Stanley Cups as you can. And look at Florida right now. They're doing the same thing. They don't want their window to close, because once it closes, then you're kind of in that rebuild phase, right? And, to me, if you have the two best players in the world, Connor and Leon, you got to keep that window open as much as possible, because those two can really draw you in and bring you back to the Stanley Cup just on those two alone. So I hope they win. I hope Edmonton wins, kind of relieve that pressure from Connor and Leon. They can now kind of settle in, win their cup, and then hopefully go on a deep run, continue to keep winning here, because with those two guys in the game, it's much better and it's bigger for us.
Question for you. We know that the Panthers are pests or rats. Obviously, the Oilers know they are pests and rats. But is there a way, obviously the Oilers know that, but is there a chance that the Panthers can still get under their skin in going into a series like that when you know the other team is going to try to get under your skin the entire time? What do you do?
The Florida Panthers are a greasy hockey team.
Super greasy.
Hell yeah.
They're fun to watch, and they're a pain to play against. They're always in your face. So, but I think Edmonton's got those guys. I think for Edmonton, they just got to stay away from the kind of bullshit that goes on with the Florida Panthers. They're going to be doing stuff behind the whistle. They're going to be doing stuff behind the play. They're going to be rubbing in your face after every whistle. They're going to be trying to get you underneath your skin as much as possible. So I think with Edmonton, they have those guys, but with Edmonton, they just got to stay within structure and just play their game and stay out of the nonsense that Florida's going to bring, because Florida's a better hockey team when you engage back with them. So if you're engaging back, they're a better hockey team. Those guys feed off that stuff. The Marchands, Sammy and Kachuk and Ekblad, all these guys, they kind of just feed off this energy of getting back in your face, and they just laugh in your face and they continue to do it. So I think for Edmonton, just stay in your lane, stay out of the stuff, and just play your game, because you're so talented and so deep right now. So, but they have guys that go back at them, so it will be interesting to see how they handle the situation.
I'd like to see a physical fight start tonight. 7-game series, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. A man who has won that 3 times, just so happened to be in a row for 2 different teams. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, Patty Maroon. Thank you, Patty.
Yeah, Patty.